chances are, in the future, just about everybody who plays Star Citizen is going to be a streamer. Now, what I mean by that is I don't mean that a bunch of people are going to be flooding Twitch with, hey, watch my game session. Hey, watch this game session. But I'm sure that many of you, you hang out on various Discords with your friends, right? And someone picks up a game like Valheim. And they're like, hey, what does that game look like? How does it play? And you say, oh, one sec, boom, let me pop on the stream. Because through Discord, you don't need to use Shadowplay. You don't need, OBS or whatever. You can just simply stream through Discord and other people can see your screen, and you can show someone a new game. You can show someone how you do something, or, a cool new skin for your ship or something like that. Many of us have now begun to use these tools. But if you think about what this implies for Star Citizen in the future, it's actually pretty crazy. Now, a long time ago, people got very excited about the 890 jump, right? And one of the features about the 890 jump was potentially its command and control features. And a lot of people were really excited about that, the ability to coordinate a battle. But that really kind of hasn't materialized, and it hasn't been discussed a lot since. And perhaps it was just flavor text, that sort of thing. And, a lot of people were kind of disappointed by that. But the truth of it is that we've kind of outgrown the need for it. We don't really need that anymore. And we don't really need any real in-game support for command and control because we have Discord. A while ago, I had kind of made fun of the fact that CIG was putting such a serious effort into in-game voice and these kinds of things. I said, ultimately, it's just wasted. You're wasting your time. And, when Discord added the ability to stream to each other, that was kind of the last nail in the coffin. And what I mean by that is, like right now, we're flying around the NTX-99 landing zone on Yellow. It's one of the drug labs, right? And I'm just going to kind of use this as kind of like an illustration. But let's say that I'm a commander of a force and we're coming in to attack this. Let's say it's a player base or, whatever installation. We're coming in to attack this. I can have my friend here in the Vanguard out scoping out the terrain before my forces ever arrive. This person can be gathering live intel from me that I can be watching on my second monitor or in a window on my second monitor, and I can say, okay, all right, this is what the area looks like. So now I can relay all that information to all the players that I'm commanding and say, give me a tight shot on the ground there. I want to see what the ridge lines are like, or, is that ground flat enough to land a Hercules with a Nova tank and a ballista and a couple of APCs and, a whole bunch of infantry, but here's a good landing spot over here. Yeah, that'll do. I can coordinate all these things live and basically through the power of Discord. I don't need a command and control ship anymore. I could be in any ship. I could be sitting in a Gladius 1,000 kilometers or 2 solar systems away. And I could be coordinating everything live and in color. When it comes down to getting to the actual base, things start to get a little bit more interesting. But truth be told, I can go into a battle, especially if this person's flying a stealth ship. I can go into battle already knowing everything that the enemy has and everything that they have prepared for me. I mean, it's very much like in the last 20 years, the militaries of the world have begun to use drones and all these other sources of, live information to coordinate their military activities. Why? Because it's an invaluable tool. And once you kind of kick that door open, you go like, oh, this is actually great. This is actually fantastic. it's a capability that once you have it, you go like, how did we ever make do without it before? Now, in survival games, when there's base raiding, you might see a little bit of intel gathering work. You know, someone might post a few screenshots on a Discord and say, oh, this is so-and-so's base in Scum, or, oh, hey, here's that base over there in this crater, and they might post a few screenshots. But think about it now. It has changed significantly. You can have someone go in on the ground and live feed you what that base has, who's in the base, is there anybody in the base. You can know, if you've been watching it for a while, you can know that player's habits. When do they tend to log on? When do they tend to log off? When are, you know, if I know that you're not online, or even if you are online, I can get somebody in on the ground who just lands far away in a cutlass and then motors up on, you know, on a space bike. I can get someone in to come in and scope out your base entirely from kilometers away. And I can feed all that information to everybody else. I can post screenshots, or I can, you know, just allow everyone, or just tell them, open up this person's stream, open up that person's stream, and they will know everything that they need to know going in. You know, what does that base look like? What kind of defenses does it have? Is there anything of value outside of the base, you know, in terms of cargo? What kind of structures do they got? We can coordinate so much information just through Discord. And that's kind of why, you know, when everyone was saying, oh, no, the in-game voice is such a great tool, it's like, yeah, but it's ultimately going to be superseded, and it has been. Unless CIG kind of goes back and says, well, now we have to make our own version of Discord, you know. The in-game voice is basically, at this point, it's dead. There's no point in using it, because Discord is simply a vastly superior tool. I mean, think about it. I could be, once the battle starts, I could open up multiple points of view from multiple players. I could even have somebody flying Overwatch giving me a bird's eye view, which would still have all the markers of all the team members. And we could fully coordinate that entire battle from one location using Discord. Simple, free software that chances are 99.99999, repeating of course, % of you are already using. If we get to the point in the future where scanning ships have interesting, you know, infrared mapping technology for the ground, so you can see heat sources in that base, or, you know, other tools that Star Citizen makes available through certain ships, we can still stream all of that onto Discord, and someone can say, oh, like, I want to see the inside of that base. Oh, here's infrared, you know, here's X-ray vision or whatever. And we ultimately can all see what is going on. I mean, most people play with at least 2 monitors now. I mean, that has become very, very common. I mean, even amongst players who maybe aren't that capable in terms of finances, oftentimes when they purchase a new computer, and they usually get a new screen with it and usually something bigger, a lot of them tend to keep the old screen and just plug it in on the side. I still have my old PC screen. That's my second monitor. I use it for like surfing the web or watching Netflix when I'm playing video games, or just farming in a video game. And so most players will have access to all of this. I mean, it's the Discord suite itself is unparalleled in the power that it will give you in the Star Citizen universe. You'll know ultimately where everybody is and what they're seeing with just a glance. Think about just a very, very simple scenario. Let's say we're attacking this base, and I'm up here on the ridge, and I'm taking fire from a guy who's hiding on the other side of the entrance, right? He's tucked in there with a sniper rifle, and he's taking shots at me. All I have to do is say, hey, to someone who's flying, top cover, hey, there's somebody behind those stairs. They can immediately look at my screen, know exactly where that person is, and come in and do a strafing run right on that area and kill that person immediately. The balance of power when you use tools like this is entirely in the attacker's hands. Now, I took this screenshot as I was flying away, but if you think about this, if this was a live video stream of a bird's eye view of that base, I would still have all my team markers, as part of the group. So I could say, okay, land a Hercules on the other side of this ridge. In this case, the base is up in a trio of, craters in the upper left, but I could say land the Hercules on the other side of this ridge, get the tanks out and all that, and I could watch them progress around the terrain all the way to the location. I can coordinate when they arrive. Like I could say Force 1 halt and hold while Force 2 comes around in from the east or the west or whatever. We still don't have cardinal directions or coordinates in game, but eventually it's going to be a thing. But we can coordinate with this, simple free tool at just an incredible level. We literally have in the palm of our hands the same tools that modern militaries do now, and arguably through the power of sci-fi magic, even better. I mean, it's insane the amount of things that you can do with Discord right now. And I mean, even in the traditional MMORPG genre, there is now a legitimate thing going on in World of Warcraft called the 21st Raider. And if you don't know what that is, it essentially means that someone can literally lead a raid by watching a stream rather than actually playing the raid. So imagine, like, if you've ever been in any, kind of game where you're having to play the game but still, run the group. That can be very difficult to do, to coordinate not only your actions, but the actions of other players and say, hey, look out for this, hey, look out for that. But through streaming, you're now allowed to bring in the extra player who's going to do all that coordination and watch all those timers and know everything that's going on, while you don't have to worry about playing the game. You can actually just sit back and do basically command and control. So, we are actually at a point where the need for a command and control feature on ships is just it's totally been superseded and overrun. We don't need it anymore. It's not a feature that we would ever consider in a ship, because the simple free software that we use to communicate with each other fully gives us access to all the information that we need. I mean, it's completely unnecessary. Even if you were to use, say, tools like Shadowplay, I'm just using the NVIDIA example, to record video footage, take screenshots, all that sort of stuff. If this was just me playing, as a player, I could go in, I could collect incredible amounts of intel on anybody's base, and then I could just pop that information up on the internet. It could show up on Reddit, it could show up on a Discord, it could show up on YouTube or anything like that. Now, obviously I'm not the person who's going to be doing that, because I mean, that would be pretty terrible. But I mean, that is totally something that could be done. I mean, realistically, if you were looking for a specific person and you put a call out there saying, hey, I am looking to take on this person, I'm looking to kind of go after this person and, wreck their stuff, so to speak. There's tons of players out there who could probably get me that intel, who would know where that player lives or know approximately where that player hangs out, who could, for in-game money or perhaps a different arrangement, provide me with all the intel I need as to where your base is, when you log on, when you log off, what defenses do you have. And I mean, this is why when I talk about, the idea of base rating in Star Citizen, Star Citizen is walking into a very, very difficult zone with this. I mean, in a traditional survival game where you have base rating, it's really not that big of a deal, because generally, once you get used to most survival games, it's not that hard to rebuild resources, and base rating is just, it's the thing that happens. Eventually the server resets and everybody starts from zero anyways, and we've done it a million times. But in Star Citizen, with persistence being the way that it is, and persistence not just being for like this month or this week and then we're resetting the server, but being for good, I mean, the impact could be far more severe on players. And so that it's going to be an interesting tightrope to watch CIG walk. Let's put it that way. It's going to be very, very challenging for them to make base building enticing enough, because as you can see, like right now, unless they put in some rather severe and heavy duty defenses on bases, and not just from like NPC police services that would be in the area if you were in a legitimate system, but just putting very, very strong defensive options in a player's hands. It's right now the balance of power is firmly in the hands of the attacker, and so the incentive to do so is not very, very good right now.
Thank you for watching. So if you want to keep up with the latest and greatest in the Star Citizen and Squadron 42's development, please follow us on our social media channels. See you soon.